Hey Noah, when was the last time you tried to get field goal?
Hey Carter, a couple weeks ago, but I think it was a couple weeks.
Well, after all these overtime games in NFL, missed field goals late, might want to get you out there, huh?
Yeah, I completely agree. Don't worry, I'm ready. This is AU Nation. Here we go.
Hello, welcome to AU Nation. Each week, we bring together members of the Auburn Student Media Group and discuss the latest topics in sports. I'm Carter Gustin. Thanks to producer JJ Jackson and our co-host Evan Blank, who couldn't join us today. After Sunday, he's heading with Cam Newton to meet with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. On today's show, we'll discuss Auburn's huge win against Ole Miss, predict the week's biggest games, of course, play our favorite trivia game, and finally, answer today's burning question.
I'm Noah Gardner. Today, I'm representing Drew Brees. It ain't easy being breezy.
Oh.
Now, let's introduce today's panel of experts. Our first guest today is Ryan Lavoie. He hosts a basketball talk show called The Fast Break on WGL 91.1 FM. Tune in Mondays at 4 p.m. for the show. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. Unlike Noah, I'm actually wearing the shirt of a champion, Stephen Curry.
Hey, I want to let it be known, I wore this first. I wore mine first.
Well, that's true, Carter, but I have limited options, and I wasn't going with Kobe Bryant because he's retired, so I got to go with my boy, Steph.
Hey, he drains shots. I know you love to play basketball that way. You hit your fair share of threes, so I'm okay with you wearing number 30.
I can't do that. I can't hit threes.
You're lucky to hit the rim, Carter. Our other expert today is Keith Gamble. He is an Eagle Eye TV sports analyst. Keith, how are you, and which jersey are you wearing?
Doing well, and today I decided to bring out a throwback and rep my Tennessee Titans with an old Vince Young jersey in honor of my Titans putting a beat down on the Jaguars this last Thursday.
But he wasn't the one putting the beat down on the Jaguars.
It's all a process. He did his fair share here, but power to him working out at University of Texas in the admissions office now. So, seen better times, but you know what? Just whipping out throwback.
No, he can help somebody else to be a great quarterback at Texas just to get into Texas.
All right, well, let's get started. Let's get a little bit spooky in honor of Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Starting with Auburn on Saturday, Auburn defeated Ole Miss 40-29 and improved to 6-2 on the season. Auburn accumulated 554 yards of total offense, including a career-high 236 yards from Cameron Petaway. What did Saturday's win for Auburn, giving them a 5-game win streak, tell you about the Tigers?
Well, I think it told us all that they're a great team. When it got into the fourth quarter, it was a close ball game, and Auburn was only up by 1 or 4 points at that point, and Auburn needed the pick from Josh Holsey, and Auburn needed to score a touchdown to finish the game off. They had to finish. Something Auburn didn't do last year in close games was finish. This year, Gus Malzahn talked about winning close games, and at the beginning of the year, he didn't win close games, and Auburn didn't look very good. They won a close game, they finished, and that's what great teams have to do in the SEC West. They made adjustments defensively where they needed to, and personally, and this may be against popular belief, but I think an 11-point win, the way Auburn went out and won this past weekend, would have told us a lot more about Auburn just going in there and throttling a downtrodden Ole Miss team. An Auburn team that had to make adjustments to win a football game tells me that they're a great football team heading down the road.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think Auburn has shown this year they're starting to get a little bit of their swagger back from 2013 season in the sense that they make plays when they have to.
Well, they stole it from Swag Kelly.
Exactly. But, the defense, the secondary didn't look great, honestly, in the first, 3.5 quarters of that game. But coming up with a huge play when they need to with the Holsey interception, like you said. And on the flip side, I think this shows more that Ole Miss is really struggling. They cannot close. Completely opposite of Auburn, we're finishing games. Ole Miss, you kind of keep expecting that late turnover by Chad Kelly, and most Auburn fans were kind of banking on that, and they proved him right. And he threw a pick, and they just cannot close games. And this team, being 3-5, is just unacceptable with the amount of talent that they have on that roster.
Yeah, they've led at halftime in every game they've played this year, and they're somehow 3-5. That's not a recipe for success.
And that amount of talent is why I feel like an 11-point win on the road is completely acceptable. This Ole Miss team has been really close to winning a lot of big games, including the Alabama game early in the year, Florida State when they blew a big lead. This team is a good team despite their 3-5 record. They've had trouble closing games, and Auburn in both halves scored 20 points, yet Ole Miss only scored 7 in the second half. You can give a lot of credit to Auburn's defense. Ole Miss was not able to adjust and punch it through, and so this win was really big for Auburn. And that's stating the obvious, I know, but this is a team that started the year 1-2. And Gus Malzahn was one bad loss away from losing his job. Now,
1 second away.
honestly, you're right, Carter. And so now, if he gets through Vanderbilt, gets through Georgia, obviously Alabama A&M, he could be one big win away from winning Coach of the Year. What a 180 that is for him in the program. And so it was, a stepping stone for Auburn. They're still alive in the SEC, which no one saw coming after the 1-2 start. And you're right. No, I agree. I think I'm much happier to see Auburn go out there and win a closer game because since they turned over the reins to Rhett Lashley on the offensive coordinating job, they've really not had a lot of adversity when they beat Mississippi State handily in Starkville. They just annihilated Arkansas at Jordan-Hare. And so for Auburn to finally face a true test on the road, because that's their second road game of the year, so a true test on the road and to have to come back a little bit, I think that's a really good sign for Auburn because they have two tough road environments coming up down the stretch in Athens and in Tuscaloosa.
All right, well, up next, Auburn will be back at home facing off against SEC East opponent Vanderbilt. What's your guys' predictions for the game this weekend?
Well, I don't think anybody here is going to pick Vanderbilt. I don't expect it to be close whatsoever. I think Auburn's going to handle them fairly easily. Vanderbilt's offense is very vanilla, and that's going to feed right into Auburn's defense. They're going to try and run the football well with Ralph Webb, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. Auburn's strength is stopping the run, and I don't really expect Vanderbilt to get anything going on that side of the football. And then my question is, can Auburn run the football against Vanderbilt's defense? Very underrated, this Vanderbilt defense is. They've got one of the best linebackers in the country, if not the best linebacker in the country, with Zach Cunningham. I'll be interested to see if Auburn's able to run the football as easily as they have been against some of these more subpar defenses in the West, being Arkansas and Ole Miss. If Auburn still puts up 250, 300 on the ground, and Petway puts another 150, 200 on the ground, people need to start thinking about giving him a letter to New York because those are some numbers that he's putting up right now. Very close to eclipsing 1,000 yards.
And hadn't played in 2 games either.
Exactly.
6 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's been phenomenal, and I think that this rushing attack is really going to be validated against Vanderbilt.
I agree. This is a game that hits me home. It's my hometown, Commodores. Love that program, but yeah, I do not see Vanderbilt really coming close in this game. I think our defense, they're just not going to move the ball. Like you said, it all depends on how we move the ball, especially running the ball against a very, very underrated defense. But Vanderbilt will not move the ball at all. Their quarterback, Kyle Shermer, is just incapable of pushing the ball downfield. They do have a great running back in Ralph Webb, but he can only do so much with that offense being so extremely one-dimensional. So I think Auburn comes out there, holds Vanderbilt to 10 or less points, if that. And, yeah, it just depends on how much Auburn can move the ball, and that's how much they're going to win by.
Yeah, Auburn's front seven all year long has been very good, and last week was the first time that their defense in general looked bad, and that was because Ole Miss did a great job of the quick passing game, making the pass rush irrelevant. Auburn still got 2 sacks in the end, but other than that, they did not get a lot of pressure.
Yep.
And that being said, their front seven's also done a great job of run stopping. And so I think the defensive line will be able to take Ralph Webb out of the game. And so offensively, I think Vanderbilt would be lucky to score 10 points, honestly.
Yeah.
If you look at what happened in the Arkansas game, I think something very similar can happen. And so you're right, Vanderbilt does have an underrated defense. But honestly, when it comes to Auburn's rush attack, now that they're willing to let Sean carry it a few times, that they cycle in Petway and
John Franklin.
And John Franklin on the occasion, I honestly don't think Vanderbilt can stop Auburn's run attack. The only team I'd be worried about that against is Alabama because it's Alabama. And so Vanderbilt, while they've done a great job, they play great fundamental defense, I still expect Auburn just to be able to blow off the line of scrimmage, Cameron Petway to break tackles, find holes. And so I think Auburn wins this handily. I think we'll see a lot of John Franklin in the fourth quarter for Auburn as they just kind of keep on going into the Georgia game next weekend.
All right, well, good job, guys. After the break, your boy, Ryan Lavoie, will put his unlimited sports knowledge to the test in our trivia game. This is Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
This is a place where it only takes a second to imagine your future. Grasp a new concept in class. Inspire a child's curiosity. Discover a real-world solution. Seize an unexpected opportunity.
There goes Davis!
This is where you gain the preparation, confidence, and determination to succeed. This is Auburn.
Welcome back to AU Nation. Let's answer some trivia questions. Each panelist will get 4 questions worth 1 point each, and the 5th question will be asked to all the panelists and is worth 3 points. In the end, I'm just going to give away bonus points, as I call them, whenever I feel like. You make me laugh, you make me chuckle, whatever happens. Who knows how many points I give out today. Let's get started, guys. Buckle down. Let's go. Ryan Lavoie, you are first. Sunday, the Bengals and Redskins tied 27-27. What city was the game played in?
London.
London, England is correct. Noah, you are next. Which Mountain West team lost on a safety on
Boise
Saturday?
State.
Who were they playing for a bonus point?
The Wyoming Cowboys.
Very good. All right, Keith, your question. This past week, a once prolific running back, Arian Foster, announced that his retirement. What team is he playing for this season?
He was playing for the Miami Dolphins.
That is correct for 1 point. Ryan, in the sports video game world last week, it was announced that this legend will be featured on the cover of MLB 17, the show. Who is this legend?
I would not know that,
Ooh,
but
do you have a guess?
I do because it's one of my favorite players of all time. It is Ken Griffey Jr.
That is correct. Good job. Ryan, Noah, the Broncos suffered a scare on Sunday when their defensive coordinator collapsed after his run smack into by a Chargers running back. What is that defensive coordinator?
So it's the defensive coordinator, not the running back.
Correct. What was his name?
Oh, goodness. I have no idea.
Keith, for the steal.
Wade Phillips.
That is correct for a bonus steal point, whatever you want to call it. Keith, in your question, Tuesday night saw a banner evening for the city of Cleveland. The city saw the Indians host a World Series game. The same night, the world champion Cavs played at home, got their championship rings. What were the results of these 2 Cleveland games? Both teams won, both teams lost, or only the Indians won?
It was A. Both teams won.
That is correct. Both
the
teams
city was about to burn down.
did well. I was surprised. I was interested to see what kind of capacity was going to be there at each game. But Ryan, your question is, which NBA player scored 50 points and grabbed 16 rebounds in his season debut? Is it Damian Lillard, LeBron James, or Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis, even though they still lost that game.
That is correct. He's on my fantasy team. He's getting me a ton of points.
He got you 108 fantasy points,
It was incredible,
Carter.
and I
mean, me and you were in that
and I
matchup
still lost to you.
by a good 152.
Noah, news broke Monday morning that New England Patriots traded which defensive player to the Browns? Jamie Collins, Malcolm Butler, or Chris Long?
Jamie Collins.
Jamie Collins, unfortunately, to the Browns. Sad.
It's
for
his
him.
exile for asking for Von Miller-like
Is that
money.
right?
Yeah.
Is that right? All right, well,
punishment.
Keith, your question. News broke over the weekend that a Tennessee running back plans to transfer from the Vols after their loss to South Carolina. Who is that player? Josh Dobbs, Jalen Hurd, or Alvin Kamara?
I don't think this question could get much easier for me due to the fact that I went to high school with this certain player.
Really?
It is B. Jalen Hurd.
Did you hear that he wants to play a different position entirely?
I did. I heard.
That's
I think
crazy.
it's probably smart for all 6'4" of him. I don't think his knees are going to be lasting much longer.
It'll be interesting to see
having
what
carries.
happens next. Ryan, your final question. Which NFL wide receiver announced his retirement following Week 8? If you need a hint, I have one for you.
I honestly don't.
Okay,
it's
I
Andre
figured you
Johnson.
didn't. That is
Andre
correct for 1 point. It's close game, guys. Close
RIP.
game. Noah, your final question. Following his impressive game against Ole Miss, Auburn running back Cameron Petway became the SEC's leading rusher. Which player did he pass on the rushing leaderboard in the SEC?
Ooh, that's tough.
It is
But
a tough one.
I'm going to throw I'm just going to throw this one out there. I'm going to go with its Vanderbilt's running back, Ralph Webb.
That is correct. Look at you go. He's trying to win again. He is.
I'm on a roll.
Keith, your final question. Which football team is currently in first place in the SEC East?
Well, after the Tennessee Volunteers are currently slowly but surely self-imploding,
They are
it is
very
the Florida Gators.
That is
with
correct.
A clear path to
All right, and the final question, everybody will be asked this question. We are 1 full week in the NBA season. Following the first 3 games, who are the top 3 players scoring currently? Ryan, you can go first. Top 3 players.
Trying to get all 3?
Correct.
Anthony Davis.
And going from first to third, so I want in order.
Okay. First, Anthony Davis.
All right.
Second, Damian Lillard.
Okay.
And third, Russell Westbrook.
All right. Keith?
I'm going to go first, Anthony Davis. Second, Russell Westbrook. And let's make it third, Damian Lillard.
All right. And
I agree with Keith. First, Anthony Davis. Second, Russell
All
Westbrook.
right, everybody
third,
got it
Damian
wrong.
Lillard.
Everybody got 2 of the 3. It would be Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and DeMar DeRozan in that order. But since nobody got it right, I'm just not going to give any points. So the winner goes to the winner of the main game, which would be Keith, with 5 points. Noah and Ryan both had 4 points. So good job, Keith. You get a hug from me after the show. That's your
cannot wait.
reward. That's your reward. This is AU Nation. We make college football game predictions next on Channel 6.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Welcome back. Let's move on and make some game predictions for the upcoming weekend. First off, the 10th ranked Florida Gators travel to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks. What do you guys got, Ryan?
I've got Florida pretty easily. Arkansas is a good team, but I think Florida's defense is going to be primed to really shut down the Hogs.
I completely agree 100% with that. I think the Gators win this one relatively easily.
Give me the Gators. Just Arkansas is going to try and run the football. That's exactly what Florida wants. It's going to be shut down.
All right. Well, moving on to the next game, the 9th ranked Cornhuskers of Nebraska travel to Columbus to take on JT Barrett and the 6th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Ryan, what do you got?
These are the 2 teams that are having disappointing offensive seasons. I'm going to go with Ohio State barely just because of home field advantage.
I'm going to go with Ohio State as well. If you look at Nebraska's resume this year, while they are ranked 9th, haven't really had that many impressive wins.
0 to be exact.
Yeah, yeah. And, Ohio State's one loss, I believe, was a little bit of a fluke in that Penn State game. So I take Ohio State here pretty handily.
I'm not impressed with either team. I think they're both a little overrated for that matter. But I think Ohio State's just got far superior athletes. Give me the Buckeyes.
All right. Well, I think that Ohio State's going to keep rolling, getting back on track after that Penn State loss. But finally, CBS primetime game is the #1 Alabama Crimson Tide traveling to Baton Rouge to play the Bayou Bengals, putting their undefeated mark on the line against 15th ranked LSU. What do you guys got?
Yeah, LSU runs that pro-style offense that Alabama stops so easily. I love Leonard Fournette. I love the athletes they have at wide receiver, but they're not going to make enough plays in the passing game. I've got Alabama easy.
I think Alabama wins this game. I think it's a little bit closer than people expect. Since Orgeron's taken over, this offense has really done a 180 and broken a bunch of records at that school. I believe that while Alabama does win this game, I think this game being in Baton Rouge helps out the Tigers a good bit.
I think this game has potential to be similar to that 9-6 game that we saw a couple years back, just because you got 2 really great defenses going at it. And I think LSU is going to be inspired. Still give me Alabama in this game because I think the offense is far superior and Etling's not good enough to make plays in the passing game.
Well, LSU is definitely improving since their loss to Auburn. But up next, we tackle our burning question. Which sports city do the guys think is actually cursed? Find out next on Eagle Eye TV.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to AU Nation. I'm Carter Gustin. The 2016 World Series are heading down to the final stretch. The Cleveland Indians are currently 3-2 over the Chicago Cubs. The series is heading back to Progressive Field for Game 6. It has been 68 years since the Indians won it all, and it's been 108 years since the Cubs won the World Series. With all this being said, one of the teams will end their championship drought. Our burning question today is, what is the next cursed city looking to end their championship drought? Guys?
For me, it's San Diego. I thought deeply about Buffalo, but since they only have 2 professional teams, the Sabres and the Bills are what made me really think deeply about Buffalo. But I'm going with San Diego because San Diego is not one. They have 2 major franchises, the Chargers and, of course, the Padres. And they might lose one here in a couple years. And like I said, they've not won anything. The Padres got to the World Series a couple of times. They didn't win. The Chargers had several years under Marty Schottenheimer where they won 10, 11 games in the regular season, went nowhere in the postseason. He got fired because of it. And so San Diego just has not won anything. And I don't think there's going to be a truly bad cursed team or city like there has been. There's just no famous curse left if the Cubs win. But I didn't think Chicago was cursed anyway. The White Sox won about 10 years ago. The Bulls won 6 with Michael Jordan. Chicago and the Blackhawks have won recently. Chicago's not a sports cursed city. It's just a cursed Cubs. Yeah. So for me, if there was a city, San Diego, but I'm not that strong about it because I feel like all the major curses are being broken.
I agree. I would have said, obviously a year ago, I was pulling hard for the Cavaliers to pull that series out last year because I felt so bad for that city of Cleveland. But now they're kind of over the hump. Yeah, I think they're going to be doing fine. And like you said, I don't feel that bad for Chicago whatsoever. They had the best basketball player in the history of the game for a while and won their fair share of championships. But I'm going to be a little biased here and say I think a little curveball. I think Nashville, Tennessee right now is really struggling with our sports. You got the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are consistently the doormat of the SEC. Tennessee Titans, who are consistently the doormat of the NFL. And you got the Nashville Predators, who are a good football or a good hockey team, but that being said, they choke in the playoffs the last couple of years. So,
but were they really expected to go that far in the playoffs?
Last year they were. Last year they actually were.
Yes, they were.
And this year they are again. So fingers crossed for my Preds back home. But yeah, like you said, Ryan, I just don't believe that the curse really. I'm not a big believer in all that. I think you win a championship when you win a championship. I don't really believe in the whole curse thing. But yeah, I think it's Nashville, Tennessee.
To me, there's nothing special about the cities that y'all have listed that makes me believe that they are cursed. Because you can name many other cities that have never won. Milwaukee. Okay, that's another prime example. Nashville, San Diego, there's 3 right there. Who's won?
Granted, Nashville's only had 2 teams for a very short amount of time.
But
Tennessee
no
didn't move to Tennessee till the mid-90s.
Well, then I don't know how you can name them, though, as a cursed team because they haven't been around for that long. Okay, and for me, there has to be some type of pedigree. Okay, and so when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking of a team that has won, but has never quite gotten over that hump. Something bad has always happened, disappointingly enough, to rip victory from their hands. I'm going with Atlanta. The Falcons are a perennial joke. Everybody expects them to be disappointing. Okay, you get to midseason, you expect them to collapse. Okay, the Thrashers were taken away, completely out of their hands. Then you've also got the Braves, went to 4 or 5 World Series in the 90s, was only able to pull 1 away. And let me go ahead and play this to you.
They won 1.
They did win 1. You take away the World Series, they have a longer drought than Cleveland had because the last time they won a championship prior to that was in 1958 with the Atlanta Hawks organization.
But they won 1.
They did win 1 against Cleveland. So, and to me, that is even more telling that they had to beat Cleveland to win a World Series, and they couldn't win any of the other ones.
Right,
they did win 1.
I think Atlanta's legacy is more of losing and choking away at the end, not necessarily just
which is very cursed, though. That's very cursed.
They just lose in the 4th quarter. They blow runs in the late in the game.
But you can come so close. You think just a couple of years ago, the Braves had a shot, to do something in the playoffs, had some very good baseball teams, and they blew it. Okay, there are a lot of...
They weren't expected to win the World Series those years.
Definitely not, but they did not go far either.
I think my main argument for Nashville is the first year the Titans were in Nashville, they made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and were literally 1 yard short of winning that game, and I believe it was the '99 Super Bowl. And since then, it's just kind of been all downhill. So until they can turn it around, I haven't seen anything to suggest that that the Titans are going to do anything. This year, they're playing better this year, but still, it's just a team that is just consistently laughable. It's the Titans and the Jaguars.
And another thing with Atlanta for me is the Falcons have not been around as long as most NFL franchises. They've not been around as long as the Chargers. And so, yeah, you're right, the Falcons have never won. The Braves had opportunities to win more than they did, but they did win 1. And I see other cities that have not. Once again, I don't think any city is particularly cursed now other than 1 or 2 teams within a city. But I'm just saying as a whole, at least Atlanta has won something. San Diego has won nothing. So that's why, for me, it's San Diego. I get what you're saying with the Falcons. They have disappointed year after year.
Which I think has to be a criteria for this because you look at it, Cleveland had some success at multiple times in their history, but had it ripped from their hands. some of these teams that you're naming right now, some of these seeds that you're naming have really never had success or anything that really indicated that they could do something more, okay? Because you say 10, 11 wins, okay, that's not dominant. That's not expected to win a Super Bowl. I remember those Charger teams. To me, there's got to be something special about that city. And when I say special, you've got to be an extraordinary loser, meaning that you won consistently but never could actually win the big one. And that's Atlanta for
All
me.
right, well, guys, I have a question for you guys. On the topic of curses, I know some of you don't necessarily believe in sports curses. I certainly do. Curses are definitely real. But since, Halloween is this week, what's your guys' favorite Halloween memory, really, as we finish the show out? It doesn't necessarily have to be sports related. Just was curious to get your guys' thoughts on it, because curses are definitely real. Aliens are real for me, too.
I'm fine with curses for particular teams. I just don't think a particular city is cursed anymore now that Cleveland has won.
I mean, if you're asking me a favorite Halloween, I'll go with sports. I'll take Auburn, Ole Miss, 2004. Auburn started out slow out of the gates, ended up putting the Rebels away and continued on. That kind of really spurred on the end of that magical season for the Tigers. That was a memorable moment.
I'll stick on the same. I'll say 2014. While the season didn't end up as Auburn fans would like, that game at the time was a huge, huge game. And, freshman year of college, first away game, and just kind of stuck in my mind. But yeah, huge one, because it was 3-4 in that game, I believe.
Yeah.
And after that, kind of wheels fell off the bandwagon for the Tigers. But that game really did stick out to me.
A lot of people are not going to like that I'm saying this, but I don't like Halloween that much. I don't have a particular Halloween memory. It's a holiday that I just kind of gloss right over. I've been trick-or-treating like once in my life, and so I honestly don't have a great memory. I mean, the Auburn-Ole Miss game was great, but honestly don't have a memory that I'm just like, wow, what a great day, what a great Halloween. Yeah. So sorry to be a
You could eat candy
downer.
bars. Get like full-size Hershey bars from all your neighbors. Wow, love it.
I mean, I still had candy, I just didn't trick-or-treat.
80 rolls around eating candy, man. Sign me up. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. For Ryan, Keith, Noah, I am Carter Gustin. Thanks for being on the show, guys. Today was a good one. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of AU Nation. See you guys.